Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. Welcome back, the Unprofessional Breakdown. And I was just telling him, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, damn, I got to stop being lazy with this season 2 of the Unprofessional Breakdown. Who better than to kickstart my little show again that maybe nobody listens to than the one and only Nick McCarty, man. Yo, welcome, man. Welcome to my little show. Thanks for taking the time and speaking a little old me. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me, man. It's an honor.
Man, so let's talk about it, bro. You had a great victory. Now you're 2-1 as a pro now, right?
Yes, sir.
You got 2 finishes. One defeat, but that was your first fight. I want to jump into it. Your first fight was, not the outcome that you wanted.
Right.
What changes, and I know the changes, but what changes did you make to get you here to a 2-fight win streak?
Um, I guess like the first big one is now I'm training with Fusion XL. So I'm training with high level pros in every area, striking, grappling. So I'm constantly being pushed in the gym and just changing like my mental mindset.
What caused, like, if you don't mind talking about it? So you go in there for your first fight. It wasn't the outcome that you wanted. Tough opponent. You go back to the drawing boards. What made you say, okay, I need to make some drastic changes? What caused that? Obviously, the outcome of the fight, but you, Nick, like, what was it that you said, yo, I really got to make these changes if I wanna take it to the next level?
Well, like we already had an idea that I want to make changes prior to the first fight, anyways, because just like the structure of my gym, my same partners to life or whatever, if they left, so I don't have like the same body that I used to have, and I was constantly looking for like that push. So it's always it's easy in the gym like when you're like a quote unquote best person or like the most experienced, but we have like those guys constantly push you and beat your ass essentially every single day, man. That's when growth really happens. So I was constantly looking for it.
That's I've been in that situation where I made drastic changes, and the outcome, you see the outcome now. Now you got 2 straight finishes, right?
Yeah.
Um so how was it, that first fight? You're with Fusion now.
Mhm.
You got a different corner, correct?
Yeah. I
So how
mean,
was you feeling, coming out in that second fight? You got a whole new team right behind you, supporting you, some familiar faces and all that stuff. But how was you feeling, up to that moment and then afterwards?
nervous because it's the first fight back from having like a horrific knockout loss. Essentially, I fractured my eye. Like my family was in tears. I had like my little sister was bawling her eyes out. I had like an emotional breakdown because like she never see me in that kind of state. So just going through that experience, obviously, like I'm nervous about like this first fight back, but I mean it worked out well. So
That's awesome, man. And I'm very happy for you because you're one of the nicest guy that I know in this
thank you.
MMA community that we have locally. Because I have a lot of friends, man, and I meet because of Combat Night. So I meet guys like you, and then I become a fan of you. Because I seen you from your amateur career. You're 4-3. You fought. You got 4 victories and 3 defeats as an amateur. So I that's where I met you, and then we see each other at all the events, and then eventually I grow to like you, and I'm like, man, I'm a fan of Nick McCarty. So whenever I see you signing or on a card, I get excited, man. And but I do feel like a change in the gym is very important, man. A lot of folks don't understand it, but at the end of the day, we're in there. Our livelihood is in there, and sometimes changing is a good thing. No bad intent. All love for everybody, but we got to look out for ourselves at the end of the day, because, like you said, your family is there watching. So I know all about that, man. I really do. So successful victory, man, in the first round. Game opponent. What now, man? What the future holds for Nick McCarty?
Back to the board, man. to my coaches, they told me to grind and get healthy, and then we'll be back at it. Yeah, so I mean, just back to like training twice a day, man. Just trying to sharpen everything up and just add on like these new skills.
And what's your training schedule?
Training schedule. I would say I train like 6 days a week. Usually, I take a Sunday off for recovery, or if not that, it's like active stuff. So I might do sprints, or I might do like some light pad work. But usually, I do twice a days, and if not, I do one training session in the afternoon, and then I usually teach a class at night somewhere.
Okay, yeah, you said so before when I was interacting with you, I was like, "Yo, what's a good schedule?" You told me, I'm in the gym teaching. So what is it that you teach, and where do you teach?
Today was kids jiu-jitsu and adults fundamentals in jiu-jitsu.
Nice. Where at?
Gracie JiuJitsu.
Oh, nice, man. Nice. So you still train there and stuff. It's just when it comes to the MMA stuff, you cut your time between Fusion and Gracie Baja, correct?
Yep, I do. Yeah, and it just makes that transition easy because my coaches, I had their blessing because they know like the situation, so they encourage me to actually go venture out and continue to grow. So it just makes everything easier that way.
That's cool, man. How long you been teaching the kids?
Oh man, I think like a year and a half now. So not 2 years. It's been a while.
How old are the kids?
Oh man, they range. So mostly I deal with like the kids, maybe like 5 to like 10. That's why I deal with mostly. But then we have like the teenagers also, like once a week. Yeah, man. But it's like
what's
kids.
The toughest challenges with teaching kids, especially jiu-jitsu? You do gi jiu-jitsu or no gi?
Gi jiu-jitsu.
So what's the toughest challenge there with the kids?
Oh man, the toughest challenge is just keeping them engaged because like they're just making go from like focus like, oh, what's down the hall, like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you have to make it short and sweet, but still at the same time give them all the information needed.
Yeah, with teaching kids is tough, man. Keep, like you said, their attention. They're always like, hey, okay, here, you got to put the arm here and do this position. But some kids, man, they pick up very quick. Like my son learns very, very fast, man. And those are the ones that you eventually end up having lead the class and help you and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. There's a few monsters, man, where they're like, they grab it like this and you just go, man. So I'm excited. I hope those kids, especially, with jiu-jitsu for the long haul, because they're going to be the next killers, world champions and like whatever.
Are they competing, or do you have them entering tournaments and all that stuff, or not yet?
Yeah. Some of them do, Yeah, and like I said, for some of them are really good to the point now they're winning championships and tournaments, man, and they're having a blast.
That's dope, man. What's your history, man? We talk here and there, but I don't really know your history, bro. Like, how do you come across mixed martial arts? And I know you're jiu-jitsu first, right? Or unless you have, you dabbled in other sports. So how did you come across jiu-jitsu?
Oh man, I mean, I always been a huge fan of like the UFC and like the Diaz brothers and Anderson Silva, but I was in school for a couple of years. I needed a little break, so I came back home and I'm like, all right, I don't necessarily have like those same facilities. I'm not going to be a pro player in basketball or football, so I'm like, all right, I need something to stay active because I don't want to be all bad and everything. So luckily, my jiu-jitsu gym was like 10 minutes away, and I tried the class. I'm like, all right, I really like this, and I caught the bug.
So how long you been training now?
I think 7 years now.
7 years, and what rank you are in jiu-jitsu?
A purple belt.
Purple belt. How long you been a purple belt? I may have got you beat.
Man, honestly, I lost track of time. At this point, I'm just enjoying the journey.
And that's how I feel. But I've been a purple belt for like 6 damn years, man. About to be 7 years now. But it's all good. I'm feeling just like you, man. I started training a long time ago, and I'm at the point where, you know, I have a family, I have a job, so I just want to train. You know,
Yeah.
that's like my fix. Like I just want to train. I want to have a good time, and not get involved in any silliness. Just train and have a good time. So you found jujitsu. What led you over to MMA, man, and punching people in the face and getting punched in the face?
Uh, Man, it was just like a transition. So we'll have a Muay Thai program at our jiu-jitsu gym. Took me a year, but I'm like, all right, I want to try Muay Thai too. Fell in love with that also. I'm like, shit, this is fun. And then, I'm competitive, so it's like I want to compete. I want to test myself. So I was begging my coach for the fight for the longest. Obviously, it took a few years, but eventually, like I got like a Muay Thai, but I'm like, all right, I like it, and it doesn't make sense to ignore half of my training because I was still training jiu-jitsu like full time. So I'm like, all right, how can I combine them both? And then like, MMA was obviously like the solution.
I love it, man. That's awesome. Like me, I came in to jujitsu with the intention of fighting with a little bit of boxing in the background. But I just wanted to fight. You know, like I was like, yeah, I got to do this to fight. You know, so I got to do jujitsu. And at first, I didn't like jujitsu, and then I learned how to do an armbar at Gracie Baja at Sand Lake,
Yeah.
right, with Rodrigo and Gucci, right. I learned how to do an armbar. But the first test was I was at the Mills location in Gracie Baja, and Fabine was running the class one time, and this big dude walks in, right? Big dude. I mean, look, I'm like 128 pounds wet, right? But I was younger, so this was like 12, 13 years ago, right? So I was still a white belt. And this big dude walks in, like over 200 pounds, and you know, like a real jock, like making fun of. You know how some guys just walk on and kind of make fun of the situation. So
Right.
Fabine's like, "Hey, Lou, go with this guy," and I'm like, "With him?" You know, like you want me to grapple him? So, anyways, we grapple. I take his back, right? He kind of like on his knees slams me, but I stay on, and I
Yeah.
choke him out. Right? He taps. Right? He slams his hands on the mat, and he goes, "This is bullshit," and he walks out. From there, I was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
jujitsu, this shit works, and this shit is off the hook, man." And I've been hooked ever since, bro. Like ever since. And that's my favorite story, man, ever. And that's how I fell in love with jujitsu. Because I started taking classes because I'm like, yo, I need this to fight. But
Right.
I fell in love with jujitsu after that moment. And I praise about it, and I tell everybody it's the best thing for self-defense. And I try to teach my wife, but she doesn't like people sweating on her, so she only likes me to sweat on her and shit. So, but yeah, man, it's a great story, man. I loved it, man. I always wonder, I'm like, man, you're so good at jujitsu. I'm like, I thought you did it since you were like, you know, a kid, like 12 years old or whatever.
I wish, man. We're just training for so long. I'm like, man, if I would have started this maybe 16, 17, 15 even. I'm like, bro, I'll be
Yeah.
so much better, man. Yeah, because I just love it. And then I know guys that started like even 2 years prior, and they're just super high level. I'm just like, man, that's where I'm trying to get to at this point.
That's awesome, man. I love it, dude. I really do, man. You're a good dude, man. Where could we find you on social media, brother?
Thank
For
you,
the
man.
sponsors that wanna
Just-
hit up Nick McCarty and be like, yo, I want to sponsor you. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at @big_Nick and on Facebook at Nick McCarty.
There you go. And I'm gonna put pictures and make it real nice. I don't know if you've seen my show before, but I think I do a alright job of editing.
I think you do a good
But
job. Yeah.
one thing I want to start doing is you got what's that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You got 11 fights now. I'm not good at math, but it took me a while to pass the FCATs, but I did it and I graduated. But I want to start asking the local fighters like yourself who are just amazing dudes in life and amazing fighters. What kind of advice you give young people, like the young guys that are wanting to enter this game, or the young guys that are amateurs now that are trying to figure out their way and want to eventually become a pro? Like, what kind of advice would you, Nick? What would you give them if they're standing in front of you right now? What kind of advice would you say to them?
Two things really. I mean, it's going to take sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice to achieve your goals? It could be something small, it could be something huge, but I feel like what you sacrifice is going to determine how far you make it in the game. And just being consistent, you know, like it's gonna be some rough days, obviously, but you just have to just keep on pushing, keep on pushing. Like you're not gonna win. You're probably gonna lose more. You will lose more, and you win. You just have to keep on being consistent and keep on working.
There you go, Nick McCarty. Congratulations again on your victories. I can't wait to see you on future MMA cards, not just Combat Night, but I'm glad that you're a Combat Night OG.
Yes, sir.
But I'm looking forward to how your future unfolds in this game, this crazy game that we love so much, man. Nick McCarty, thanks for taking the time and talking to Lil Old Lou. I truly appreciate it, brother. Like I really do.
Thank you, Lou, man. It's a pleasure.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Peace.